Thank you so much, Aaron and Kate, for being here, and for all the other people who will volunteer and watch this video at some later point in time. I appreciate you. We are really excited about what God is doing and about all of the doors that He's opening for us with our after school ministry. This presentation is just going to give you a brief overview over how things are going to flow on a day-to-day basis, and it'll also give you some of the overall goals that we want to achieve, along with the opportunities that you might have to be able to plug in and to assist what God is doing here. First thing we're going to look at is why. Like, why is this so important, what we're doing? Why is it so important to have you as a volunteer? Why is it so important for us to get this thing off the ground? Well, we're seeing education as a ministry, and students statistically who are not reading on grade level by the end of the third grade, they are 4 times less likely to graduate high school, and that makes them 6 times less likely for students of low-income families. And the high school dropout rates were 63 times more likely to be incarcerated than college grads. So basically, if they can't read, they drop out of school. And if they drop out of school, the propensity for them to end up in prison just goes through the roof. And so by doing this, we literally have an opportunity not just to impact people's eternity, but to impact their eternity and give them a better quality of life. I think God wants us to have productive kingdom citizens in every area of life that are able to tithe back to His church and be able to have resources to be able to help His people. And so we want to help these children to be able to plug and play into that. Education as a ministry, with Jesus' principle in Matthew 25, we just want to apply this to all of life. Jesus said that when we were hungry, when we saw the hungry and we fed them, we were feeding Him. When we clothed the ones who didn't have clothes, we were clothing Him. When we visited those in prison, we were visiting Him. And He said that when you did this to the least of these, you were also doing it unto me. And so when we see that a child is cold, we give them a jacket, they won't freeze. When we see that a child's going to prison because they're behind in learning, we are going to provide them with an avenue for them to learn so that they can become productive kingdom citizens. And so that's what we mean whenever we say education as a ministry. It's just like providing a burger to the homeless person. We're just giving them exactly what they need. So when is this going to happen? We're going to be running more than likely from 3:30 will be the pickup from Hope Elementary School. So our start time is going to be a little bit later. So this will be adjusted, but this is a basic synopsis of what's going to be happening every day. There's going to be a little time for snacks and free play. There's going to be a daily discipleship time. There's going to be time for the children to have their homework, work on them with their homework. There's going to be some literacy time to work on literacy, alternating days between literacy and math. And there's going to be some reading time where we just read with the children and have the children read. Statistics say that 20 minutes a day of reading can greatly impact the child's overall performance in literacy over the course of time. So we're going to put that to the test and see what happens. And then we're going to have a lot of fun stuff like some free choice makerspace type activities. We're going to have an art corner. My wife is working on art materials. We're going to have a STEM corner with the Lego thing set up. I even got a little basketball thing up in there if they need to burn off some energy. So we're going to have all kinds of things like that, along with Chromebooks that allow for just a diversity of programs and things that can be done on the computer. We're going to have dinner eventually. We'll probably start off with more of a snack-based thing, but I'm going to be working with the churches to see how quickly we can roll that over to a dinner, like a daily dinner for the children, with some more healthy options that they wouldn't get in their normal environments. And then that's just going to lead to a cleanup, and some of the children might go to Mission Wrestling, and the other children will be picked up by their parents. So it'll be a very succinct schedule. We'll be rocking and popping through there, and that's how they're going to go. So how is it going to look? Well, Becca's got a Bible curriculum that we'll be using, and I'll give you guys access to that. So if you ever want to show up for the Bible time and you wanted to know exactly what was going to be going on, to be able to engage in the conversations with the children, or if you wanted to look at it so that when you did come to volunteer, you knew exactly what they had learned that day. So you could ask questions and engage in conversations around the things of the Bible and things of that nature. But I'll get those links to you so that'll be readily accessible. I'm also going to get you a copy of the calendar. I'll give you access, any of the volunteers will get access to a calendar where you're able to see the field trips and things that we have coming up, because for field trips, we'll need volunteers, we'll need chaperones and things of that nature. Cap Thurman during the summer is a great time, a back to school rally. So you'll have access to the calendar where you can look ahead and possibly plan for some of these days. We'll be using various curriculums, but that's the kind of stuff that as you come, when you come, I'll kind of get you plugged and played in so that you'll understand how some of these things work, so that you'll have the knowledge to be able to support the children. And that comes to what we're going to need from you. There's certain needs that we have right now. Some of them are simpler, like reading with and to children. That's huge. Just to sit down and to read a book with a child makes a huge impact. We can get them to just sit down and listen. Come read with Mr. Washington. Like, spend some time with me. Another one's going to be homework assistance. Some people don't feel as comfortable with homework assistance, just depending on the child and the grade level. But if you have a content that you're very strong in, or something that you enjoy working with, we would always love homework assistance. And then in regards to the dinner, there's going to be meal prep and meal provision. So right now we're looking for people who will say, you know what, I'll donate a meal for the children on this day, maybe once a month or something along those lines, or I'll help prepare a meal. If you get the stuff there, we can help make it and bring something. So there's a bunch of different options on how that dinner is going to look, but we're definitely looking for people and ideas about how we can make that happen best for the children. Another option for service later on down the line would be the picking up the children with the bus. We have a 15 passenger van, and eventually when we grow beyond our number of 15, then that means we would need 2 vans running, or additional options for how to get the children there. And so that would be another opportunity to serve. And I'd already mentioned that as we have these field trips pop up on the calendar, the more children we have, the more volunteers for chaperones that we have, the merrier. It just makes life so much easier, and it's so much safer when you have an army with children when you're in strange places. The next thing we're going to have is the process. So what are the steps to volunteering? Next week, I'm going to be sending out an application that needs to be completed. Now, the application is going to be kind of invasive. It's going to ask for some crazy questions, but that's intentional. I have to build it that way because whenever you're building these applications, you're not building them for the people that you know are safe. You're building them for those people that you might not know about. And sometimes they might ask some tough questions, and those are very intentional. But those questions are not for the person who's not going to harm children. Those questions intend to make people who might have a motivation to harm children very uncomfortable. And so I don't want you to get thrown off guard by any of those. Also, we'll have Ministry Safe. There's a safety awareness class that needs to be taken. And so I would send a link out to your email, and you'll be able to click on that and do a safety awareness class along with submitting a background check. If you're going to be doing bus driving later on down the line, we'll also look at a driving record check, but that will be later on down the line. The 2 primary things, or the 3 primary things, are going to be complete the application process and complete the Ministry Safe classes and the background check. So those will be the primary things for our volunteers. And it's because we're trying to keep little beautiful girls like over in the corner over there safe from people that might not have the best motivations for our babies. And I'm sure you'll understand. That is the overall overview. I told you it was going to be quick, but it was very succinct. So if you have any questions or anything that has popped up in your head, just shoot me an email at iwashington@tncdev.com, or feel free to give me a phone call. That's my office number at 817-349-6719. Other than that, I thank you so much for your time today. Told you it would be quick and succinct, but I wanted to be respectful of your time, but also communicate the information. So any questions that you have, please follow up with email or phone call, and I will be shooting out emails next week with more information about how we can get started for those